Hello, Antonia Rolls here again. Another small video on the aftermath of losing both my sons to addiction and to suicide. This is a difficult landscape that I and many others have to walk, and for the rest of our lives we have choices to make something of this or to go under. I personally feel that we make something of it because life, in my opinion, is so precious. And while we're here, we have work to do. I lost both my sons to addiction and to suicide. And I've made some difficult choices about what I want to do with my life. I think the most important thing is that I want my life. I want to carry on living. But it's really hard to look back at the lives of both my boys and myself as their mother and to see any good in it, because I know what happened. I know how addiction took over first my oldest son, and the crazy nightmare of darkness and despair, isolation and psychosis that he went through for over 10 years, maybe 15 years, and only at the age of 29 he died. And then I had the relief of my other son, who was still living, whose mental health deteriorated, and who also followed a path of deep addiction and alcoholism. And he killed himself when he was 27 at the beginning of this year. So it feels like everything in the past has been a lie. Whatever good I might have done as a mother, which when I look back from this perspective now as the surviving mother of two dead sons, I only see badness unless I'm careful. I only see how their lives were a lie because it was all going to come to this, where they both died, and badly. It was all a lie. And I look back and I see the times, so many of them, more times than I could imagine, that I did the wrong thing. Okay, and this is a mindset. And it's really hard to be in that mindset and to have nothing that's good and light and joyful that you believe in about somebody who's died and died in tragic circumstances. However, I know that that thinking is destructive, and I talk about it a lot. That thinking is the darkness coming for us. I'll talk about my own experience. The darkness that my sons experienced was profound and evil and extremely destructive, and they, my beautiful boys, could not withstand it, and they died. The darkness they left behind, it got their body and it got their mind, but it didn't get their soul, but it's still here. And on this earth plane, we deal with darkness. It is the devil's playground. The darkness is insidious, and it knows it knows how to find our weak spots, and it causes us to think in the way I've described. It causes me to think in that way. The light is here too. This is something which I need to remind everybody. The light is here. I'm sitting in the most beautiful light at the moment. This is a gift. The sun that's shining today is a gift. The light that's in my studio here is a gift. However, all this is kind of abstract if your brain is telling you that you messed up, and that if you had been a better parent, your child wouldn't have died. If you'd have been a better person, then this thing wouldn't have happened. If only you had been less self-absorbed, stupid, ignorant, and so it goes on. It goes on. But I read something the other day. And it was just one sentence which stood out to me, and I'll read it to you. It said, "But they did not understand this saying. Its meaning was concealed from them, so they could not perceive it." And I thought, oh heavens, well, maybe all those 4 billion times where I got it wrong, it wasn't because I was self-absorbed, though I probably was, and it wasn't just that I got it wrong and I'm stupid. It's because the meaning of what was happening then was kept from me because it wasn't the time for me to perceive it. Now is the time for me to look back and perceive what was happening. At the time, I was not able to understand it. I hadn't got the equipment, and the events that I was living through, each one of those events where I go back and say, oh my God, I did the wrong thing, each one of those events was still unfolding. But it ends up now with, instead of me saying, there is only pain in my past, and every good thing that I thought happened between me and my boys was a lie, I can think now, because of this sentence, it wasn't the time for me to understand it. Whatever was unfolding for a reason. And I couldn't have perceived the meaning in everything because I was part of this unfolding story. And if, which I believe we all have free will, then my sons could have chosen differently, and so could I. However, what has happened today is that we didn't choose differently, we chose the things we've chosen. And both boys are dead, and I'm here, in the light in my studio, talking about darkness. I'm thinking that we're so hard on ourselves. I am so hard on myself about my past. But reading this sentence, but they did not understand this saying, they did not understand, or I didn't understand these events, then its meaning was concealed from them. At the time, the meaning of everything is concealed from me, from us. So they could not perceive it. So I couldn't perceive it. There comes a time, like now, when I am perceiving it and I am looking back and there is meaning, but I have to be careful with the meaning, that the meaning doesn't destroy my brain and bring me down into hopelessness, because that doesn't do anything for anyone. So, blessings to you, and I hope that your day is good more soon.